This was just a low-grade spirit field that could only grow ordinary spirit rice. Left to the flow of time, its ultimate fate was to become a barren wasteland. Yet, the very first moment I laid eyes on it, I spent every last penny to my name to rent it. I planted it full of worthless, ordinary spirit rice. Everyone secretly laughed at me behind my back, calling me an absolute idiot. But what they didn't know was, while I was harvesting the spirit rice, I could also harvest things they couldn't even see. I let out a massive yawn. Feeling completely exhausted, I rubbed my bloodshot eyes, gathered my spiritual energy, and got ready to head out to work. Before leaving, I glanced back at my neighbor's yard, and a surge of anger just bubbled right up. The neighbor was a young female cultivator, and pretty attractive too. But every few days, she'd bring male cultivators home for the night. Last night, she was moaning for the entire damn night. Once I got some spirit stones, even if I couldn't afford a new place, I definitely had to set up a soundproofing array first. I gritted my teeth. I swore to myself, the soundproofing of the houses around here was just absolute garbage. While I was meditating and cultivating last night, the noise from next door made my blood boil. My Dao heart was practically shaken. I had no choice but to stay up all night, furiously copying the mantra of purity 1,000 times. Just to calm my nerves. But the moment I thought about today, and the endless chores waiting for me in the spirit fields, I just completely lost my mind. It had been almost 5 years since I transmigrated into this cultivation world, and my cultivation was still stuck at Chi Refinement level 7. With my trashy 4-element pseudo-spirit root, unless I stumbled upon some crazy miracle, I could cultivate until the day I died and still never reach the foundation establishment stage. Now, all I could do was rent 3 acres of spirit fields from the sect and live my life as a lowly spirit farmer. And today was harvest day for the spirit rice, which also meant the higher-ups would be sending someone down to collect the spirit rice tax. Yo, Xiao Qing, you're up early. Looks like your spirit rice is growing pretty well this season, huh? I was halfway to the spirit fields, lost in my own thoughts, when Kaiju from the side alley greeted me with a beaming smile. I couldn't help but force a bitter smile. Don't even bring it up. You know I'm only at Chi Refinement level 7. My spirit rain spell is still stuck at the beginner level. I can barely cast it a few times a month. Oh, by the way, old Kai. Your cultivation at Chi Refinement level 4, plus your intermediate spirit rain spell. I bet your harvest this year is going to be fantastic, right? Hey, it's alright. Just getting by, I suppose. Old Kai smacked his lips. His answer was totally vague. A little while later, standing in my spirit fields, I stared out at one of my plots, and I just couldn't help but feel totally defeated. About half an acre of the spirit rice in this plot was still bright, lush green. It completely clashed with the mature, golden spirit rice all around it. If people didn't know any better, they'd probably think I was growing vegetable seedlings out here. The whole reason for this mess was something I knew all too well. My spirit rain spell was just way too low level. I couldn't cast it enough times, and the rainfall was totally uneven. I had no idea if I'd even be able to scrape by and pay my taxes this time. Anxiety gnawed at my chest. I shook my head, trying to clear my thoughts, and got to work harvesting the spirit rice. By the time I finished cutting the stalks, threshing the rice, and bagging it all up, every last drop of spiritual power in my body had been drained. I was tired as a dog, but the second I wiped the sweat from my brow, I heard the sharp whistling sound of a magic artifact slicing through the air in the distance. A green leaf skiff streaked across the sky, leaving a trail of green light as it slowly descended. The spirit farm supervisor, Du Haifu, stepped off the boat. Ha ha ha, you work pretty fast, kid. Got all the spirit rice harvested already, I see. He wore a beaming, satisfied smile. He patted the storage bag at his waist, pulled out a magical scale, and started weighing the harvest. A yield of 2 loads of spirit rice, totaling 280 pounds. The required tax is 70%. That makes 196 pounds. Wait a minute. Why is the yield 50 pounds less than last season? He pulled out a ledger to double check. His eyes turned ice cold as he glared at me. A sudden chill ran down my spine. I quickly pulled a small silk pouch from my shirt and handed it over with an apologetic smile. Senior Du, I am so sorry for the missing half bag of rice. Please take these spirit stones to make up for it. I hope you can let this slide. It pained me deeply, but I had no other choice. That pouch held more than half of my life savings. Du Haifu snatched it up. He tossed it in his hand to weigh it, and his attitude softened considerably. Still, he gave me a stern warning. Just this once, don't ever let it happen again. With a wave of his hand, the massive bags of spirit rice in front of us were instantly swept into his storage bag. Then, he added, you can't keep slacking like this, kid. But since you actually know how to show some respect, I'll give you a little tip. I just got word, this year, the bottom 10 spirit farmers are going to be exiled to the frontline war camps as reinforcements. Yu Haifu didn't even wait for my reaction before flying off in his skiff. I was left standing there, completely stunned. Exiled to the war camps? Night fell. I carried my meager leftover rice back to my shack. My mind was a total mess. I knew perfectly well that with my current yields, I was 100% going to be in that bottom 10. The war camps of the Spirit Feather sect. The casualty rates there are insanely high. People turn pale just mentioning it, and if I go to the front lines, a low-level cultivator like me would just be used as cannon fodder to clear the way. What do? I don't want to die as cannon fodder. I can't accept this. I racked my brain for a solution, until I eventually drifted into a heavy, exhausted sleep. A strange sensation rippled through my soul. I had a long, bizarre dream. In the dream, all sorts of bizarre plants seemed to have encountered some miraculous trigger. They grew wildly at an unbelievable speed, blocking out the sky and the sun. Then, something seemed to explode inside my head. The next morning, I woke up clutching my throbbing temples. The whole world was spinning. I dragged myself out of bed and drew a basin of water. I walked over to the planter in the yard to wash up. Inside were dozens of stalks of spirit rice. I kept them there to study crop habits and occasionally practice my spirit rain spell. But the moment I looked up at the planter, I froze. Floating right above 3 of the spirit rice stalks were actual glowing system prompts. Did I wake up too fast? Did I sleep funny last night? I stared intently at the 3 floating lines of text. After checking again and again to make sure they were real, I was absolutely ecstatic. Hehehe, my cheat code has finally arrived. This has got to be my very own golden cheat. I forced down my excitement and carefully approached those 3 stalks of spirit rice. I took another look at all the plants in the yard and realized that only these 3 displayed any traits. Could I just harvest them right away? I reached out and snapped the 3 stalks right at their roots. The moment I gathered them up, 1 green flash and 2 white ones flickered just inches away before vanishing. Then, they transformed into 3 leaves, resting quietly inside my mindscape. The green leaf carried a rapid ripening trait, while the white ones held traits for weak spiritual energy. And 5 uses of the intermediate spirit rain spell. With just a single thought, I could activate them instantly. Without a second thought, I headed straight back to my room, sat cross-legged on the bed, and immediately used the white leaf holding the weak spiritual energy trait. In an instant, a surge of spiritual energy burst from my dantian. I quickly focused and guided the flow. Moments later, the energy inside my dantian had grown significantly. That one boost was easily worth 3 months of hard cultivation. Tasting this kind of success, I was absolutely itching to test out the effects of the other 2 traits, but I quickly reined myself in. I couldn't let it get to my head. My cultivation level was still way too low. I absolutely couldn't let anyone notice anything out of the ordinary. Playing it safe and laying low was the best move. After eating, I grabbed my spirit hoe and headed out to my spirit field at the usual time. I took a slow stroll around the area and realized that these traits only spawned on spirit plants I had grown with my own 2 hands. On top of that, the drop rate was ridiculously low. Out of my entire half-acre field, with tens of thousands of spirit rice stalks, there was only a single trait available. Right now, I was staring intensely at that one lone stalk of spirit rice holding a trait. I studied it carefully for a good while, but it looked exactly the same as all the others. It was genuinely mind-boggling. But, seeing that there was no one else around, I brushed the thought aside and decided to use my remaining 2 traits. What Du Haifu said to me yesterday had sparked a terrifying sense of urgency. There was no way I was going to the frontline war camp just to die for nothing. Let's see what happens if I force ripen this half-acre of spirit rice. Let's see how well this actually works. I took a deep breath. With a mere thought, I triggered the rapid ripening trait along with 1 use of the intermediate spirit rain spell. Immediately after, my hands formed a spell seal, and I pointed straight up at the sky above the field. Thick, gray spiritual clouds rapidly gathered overhead, quickly blanketing the entire half-acre patch. A steady, gentle spirit rain began to pour down, perfectly amplifying the rapid ripening effect. Wow! This intermediate spirit rain spell was worlds apart from the basic version. I focused deeply on the sensation of casting it, savoring every second of this rare experience. About 15 minutes later, I slumped onto the dirt, completely pale. My cultivation level was still way too weak. My spiritual energy was completely drained. Still, if you had told me I'd do this in the past, I wouldn't have even dared to dream about it. Especially pulling off an intermediate spirit rain spell. I sat there catching my breath for a bit. When I finally got up to check the results, it had only been half a day. but the entire half-acre of spirit rice was shooting up like crazy, growing right before my eyes. They were already starting to form rice ears. Man, this speed is insane. I took a sharp breath in sheer disbelief. At this rate, bet I could come harvest the entire field by tomorrow morning. And sure enough, the very next morning, the moment I stepped back into the field, that whole half-acre of spirit rice was perfectly, beautifully ripe. The spirit rice yield in that half-acre has gone up by about 20% compared to before. Half a month flew right by. After finishing up the work on my original 3 acres of spirit fields, I went to see Overseer Du Haifu again and rented another 2 acres right next door. I've used the intermediate spirit rain spell modifier 3 times now, so there's only 1 use left. I've also gradually gotten the hang of the tricks for casting the intermediate spirit rain spell. I'm pretty sure that even without using the modifier, I'll be able to cast it on my own from now on. After bustling about for the better part of a month, I've pretty much sorted out all 5 acres of the spirit fields. Now, I just have to wait for the next harvest. I can finally catch my breath. Since I have a couple of free days, I'm planning to sell off some of the spirit rice I have on hand. I need to buy a few cultivation supplies. So, I packed up the rice and headed out. Just as I reached the main road, 2 cultivators happened to be walking right toward me. I quickly set down my bag, cupped my hands, and greeted them respectfully. Greetings, Taoist Long. This cultivator surnamed Long standing before me is actually the only late-stage qi condensation expert in our entire shantytown. He broke through to the 8th level of qi condensation years ago. And that female cultivator beside him? That's my neighbor, Li Yanli. Seeing how cozy they are with each other, she must have snagged herself a sugar daddy. Watching the direction they were heading, looks like there's going to be another huge racket tonight. I sighed inwardly. Buying a soundproofing array instantly became my top priority. Before long, the massive archway of the Qingyang market came into view. Didn't waste time looking around and went straight into a shop. The shopkeeper was at the 6th level of qi condensation, but he didn't give me the cold shoulder just because I'm a low-level cultivator. He put on a professional smile and greeted me warmly. "Ah, you must be here to sell some spirit rice, right? Come in, let's talk inside." The shopkeeper nodded and had his workers inspect the rice. It came out to exactly 108 caddies. I can buy it at the market rate of 1 low-grade spirit stone for every 5 caddies. How does that sound to you, my friend? I nodded without hesitation. By the way, does your shop sell soundproofing arrays? The shopkeeper gave a subtle smile. He patted his storage bag and pulled out a simple array set. Of course we do. This is a tier 1 soundproofing array. It goes for 10 low-grade spirit stones. Can you do a little better on the price? I'll grab a storage bag, too. The soundproofing array is 10 spirit stones. And the storage bag is 12. I can knock 1 stone off the total, so that brings it down to 21 spirit stones. Sigh, you really do just spend it as fast as you make it. Not a single penny makes it back home. Once the trade was done, I walked out of the shop, shaking my head at the thought. Back in my room, I set up the soundproofing array right away. From now on, no matter how crazy my neighbors get, it won't be bothering me anymore. Over the next few days, I poured all my energy into those 5 acres of spirit fields. 10 days later, the spirit rice had already started to sprout. I rushed right out to the fields to check on them. At a glance, 4 modifiers were glowing faintly over the lush green patties. And there was a new one, too. My face lit up with excitement. Along with 2 faint mana traits, 2 brand new modifiers had popped up. One was an elite spirit rice modifier, and the other was a level 5 beast repelling spell modifier. Maturity was at 12%. Spirit rice trait, some sort of beast fang rice. Maturity 10%. Too bad it didn't spawn a rapid ripening trait. The beast repelling spell is also a spiritual planting spell. When paired with a specially made bell artifact, casting this spell can quickly drive away all kinds of demonic beasts to protect the crops. But this spell is really hard to master, even harder than the spirit rain spell. Almost no one knows it. Then, my attention shifted. The very last trait, beast fang rice, sounds a bit familiar. I feel like I've seen it somewhere before. Suddenly, a flash of inspiration hit me. I remember now, beast fang rice is a tier 1, low-grade spiritual crop. It looks just like a beast's fang, and the spiritual energy it holds is 5 times that of normal spirit rice. Body-refining cultivators go absolutely crazy for it. Whenever it pops up in the market, it's always snatched up in an instant. But, its growing conditions are pretty harsh. You have to use the intermediate spirit rain spell to draw in energy from the spirit vein, keeping it watered long-term. Plus, it takes forever to grow. Even the lowest quality beast fang rice takes 2 years to harvest. Its yield is low, too, which is exactly why it costs 10 times more than normal spirit rice. To think these are actually beast fang rice seeds, I've hit the jackpot. For now, I really need to take good care of these 5 acres of spiritual fields. In just over 3 months, it will be time to pay the spirit rice tax again. That is the real test for me. Right after that, I carefully cleared out the weeds, and used up my very last intermediate spirit rain spell. 1 month later, I stared at the spirit cloud covering my 5 acres of fields, a bright smile spreading across my face. From now on, even without relying on the system traits, I can cast the intermediate spirit rain spell all on my own. Over 2 months later, the spirit rice finally matured. As I harvested the 4 stalks of spirit rice, 4 glowing white leaves instantly appeared in my mind's eye. Not long after, a group of spirit farmers started working under the watchful eye of the supervisor. Du Haifu, harvesting the spirit rice. I quickly got to work, harvesting the crops. After a full day of exhausting work, I ended up with 8 massive bags of spirit rice, a total harvest of 8 bushels and 20 pounds. The required tax is 70%, which comes out to 574 pounds. Just as he finished speaking, a massive flying ship streaked across the sky, leaving a trail of light. It hovered steadily right above the hillside. At the bow stood an old man in blue robes, his hands clasped behind his back. His face was stern and rigid. Du Haifu hurriedly bowed and called out, "Greetings, Deacon Gu. Exactly as you instructed. All the rice taxes for this season have been collected. Please, take a look." With that, he carefully presented a jade slip. Up on the ship, Deacon Gu swept his cold gaze over the crowd. Without a single ounce of emotion, he announced, "The spirit rice taxes for all 3 seasons this year have been fully collected. Now, per the sect's instructions, I shall announce a new mandate. Based on the total spirit rice yield for the year, the 10 cultivators ranked at the very bottom will be forcibly drafted to the front lines to serve as reinforcements. Disobedience will not be tolerated." Deacon Gu's booming voice echoed, struck like a bolt of lightning right in the hearts of the farmers. What, the front lines? No way. Why didn't they warn us about this earlier? Panic instantly swept through the crowd, everyone terrified for their own lives. Deacon Gu let out a cold snort, and the crushing pressure of a peak chi refining cultivator washed over them. Everyone instantly shut their mouths. The yield statistics for these 3 seasons, and all the final rankings are right here. You can look at them yourselves. As Deacon Gu finished speaking, the Spirit Feather sect disciples next to him stepped forward. They cast a spell onto the jade slip in front of them. Instantly, in the sky above the spirit farmers, a massive screen of light materialized. A massive screen of light appeared. It displayed the rankings from highest to lowest, with each person's exact seasonal yield listed right next to their name. I glanced up and quickly spotted my own name. Rank 156. I let out a long sigh of relief. Dead center in the middle. My anxious heart finally settled. I assume you've all taken a good look at your rankings. The bottom 10, get on the ship and come with me. Right after, the 10 spirit farmers whose names were called out turned deathly pale in an instant. What awaited them was the brutal land clearing on the front lines. I hope the rest of you keep working hard. The sect has issued new quotas for next year. Next time, the ones banished to the battle camps will be the bottom 30 spirit farmers. Deacon Gu's absolute, unquestionable voice echoed in everyone's ears for a long time. Hearing this, I thought to myself, next year, the competition among us spirit farmers is going to be absolutely cutthroat. After all, nobody wants to be cannon fodder on the front lines. With the spirit rice tax finally out of the way, I won't have to worry about being sent to the front lines for a while. This time, I absolutely must push through to the 3rd level of chi refining. Back in my quiet little cabin, I sat cross-legged on the woven straw mat on my bed. With my eyes gently closed, I prepared to consume 2 minor spiritual energy attributes. To use this to attempt a breakthrough. With a mere thought, the first attribute was consumed. I guided the spiritual energy inside my dantian. But my bottleneck, which had just barely started to loosen, still wouldn't budge. I furrowed my brow. Gritting my teeth, I went ahead and consumed the last remaining minor spiritual energy attribute. A long time passed, both minor spiritual energy attributes were completely drained, but I still hadn't broken through. Sigh. So this is the harsh reality of having poor natural talent, huh? The peak of the 7th level of chi refining is still just a little bit short of reaching the 8th level. However, even though my cultivation level didn't break through this time, my Dantian's spiritual sea has definitely expanded quite a bit. My spiritual energy has also grown by a 1/3 compared to before. Then, my thoughts turned to the beast tooth rice mother seeds. With my current skills as a spirit plant cultivator, if I don't use the rapid maturation attribute, it's probably going to be really hard to pull this off. I thought it over and over, and finally made up my mind. Once again, I made my way to the Qingyang market. Shopkeeper Liao wore his usual warm, welcoming smile. "Ah, fellow cultivator Qin. The usual, I presume? Here are your 44 spirit stones. Is there anything else you'd like to purchase from our shop today?" I was already prepared. I pulled a design draft out from my robe and handed it over to shopkeeper Liao. "I'd like to custom order a small bell just like this one. Do you think you can make it happen?" "Of course we can, fellow cultivator Qin. Though, I suspect this is a specialized spirit bell meant for casting the beast taming art, isn't it? As it happens, our pavilion has some in stock right now. It's a low-grade magical artifact called the Beast Roar Bell. It'll cost you 10 spirit stones. When paired with the beast taming art, it can automatically shrink and expand on its own." That price caught me a little off guard. "It's actually that cheap? Spirit rice. Haha, there's something you don't know, fellow cultivator Qin. The real key to the beast taming art lies in how well you master the spell itself. Mastering the use of this bell, well, it's really nothing more than a simple support tool. But I must warn you, fellow cultivator Qin, this beast taming art is incredibly difficult to cultivate." I get what he means. Basically, no one's buying it. If you can't master the spell, that special spirit bell just becomes a useless decoration. A total waste of spirit stones. But as for me, there's no such thing as failing to learn it. I handed over 710 spirit stones. I took the spirit bell, then followed up with a question. "Do you have any pills to boost chi condensation cultivation?" I was still hung up on failing to break through to the 8th level. I just couldn't let it go. "We do, please head up to the 3rd floor." A moment later, I walked out of the shop trying to look completely normal. I had 40 spirit stones in my pocket, but couldn't even spend them, because the cultivation pills on the 3rd floor all started at a minimum of 60 spirit stones. And so, the days just kept passing by. Once winter hit, the spirit fields entered a short 2-month resting period. I was just clearing the snow by my door, when my neighbor Li Yanla's wooden door creaked open. "Morning, Taoist Li." I gave her a polite smile. "Morning to you too, Taoist Qin. My, aren't you a hardworking man?" Li Yanli covered her mouth with a little giggle. "I heard people saying that your spirit rice harvest last season was absolutely incredible. You must have made quite a pile of spirit stones, huh?" "Hey, it was honestly just pure luck." I was about to head back inside, when she spoke up again. "Hold on a second, Taoist Qin." A faint blush crept across Li Yanla's face. "The other day, things got a bit too loud over at my place. And I ended up disturbing your sleep. If you don't mind, why don't you come inside? I can give you a free session to make up for it." I was completely caught off guard. My face instantly turned beet red. Be honest, I'm a young, hot-blooded guy. How the hell am I supposed to resist an offer like that? "Calm down, I need to stay calm. She's definitely not after my body. She's just after the spirit stones in my pocket." Still, my Taoist resolve was seriously starting to waver. But then, the image of a massive, heavily muscled guy suddenly flashed in my mind. Taoist Long, a late-stage 8th level chi condensation cultivator. Nope, I absolutely cannot mess with him. Yeah, definitely passing on that. I snapped back to reality instantly. Thanks for the generous offer, Taoist Li. But I was tilling the spirit fields a few days ago, and my back's been killing me lately. With that, I bolted back into my house without looking back, and quickly splashed some cold water on my face. Just as my imagination was running completely wild, there was a sudden knock at the door. No way. Did she actually deliver herself right to my door? This little minx is really pushing my limits. Fine then, if that's how it is. I guess I'll just have to go all out. I ripped the door open, only to see Kai Lao Ju standing there. I peeked out left and right to make sure no one else was around, and blurted out, "Oh, it's just you." Kai Lao Ju was holding a couple of packages. The moment he heard that, he instantly got defensive. "Hey, what kind of greeting is that, kid? Who else would it be? I come all the way here out of the goodness of my heart to bring you a jug of my homemade sweet potato moonshine." "Fine, I'm out of here." He turned right back around to leave. Wait. I quickly grabbed him. "I didn't mean it like that, come on in. Have a seat." Kai Lao Ju finally handed over the jug of booze, grumbling under his breath, "Sit, my foot. A new neighbor just moved in nearby, and you didn't even know?" I took the wine, looking completely blank. A new neighbor? Old Kai took one look at my face and knew I was completely out of the loop. He let out a heavy sigh, pointed at me, and said, Man, I really don't know what to say to you. A new cultivator just moved into our alley a few days ago. And not just any cultivator, a genuine alchemist. If we get on his good side, Who knows, it might just come in handy one day. But why would a big-shot alchemist move to a rundown place like Penghu district? Word is, he's only staying for a year. As for the exact reason, he kept it to himself. Old Kai urged, getting a little impatient. Hurry up and get a welcome gift ready. We're going over to pay our respects. Oh, so giving me a jug of wine was just a convenient excuse? I'm only getting this because of the alchemist. I was honestly a bit speechless. Not long after, the two of us weaved through a few winding alleys and arrived in front of a courtyard door. Old Kai knocked, and a moment later, the wooden door opened from the inside. A young cultivator in white, looking to be in his 20s, appeared right before us. 5th level of chi condensation. Neither of us expected the guy to be this young. We heard a fellow cultivator and alchemist had moved in, so the two of us came over to pay our respects and introduce ourselves. Haha, we're all neighbors from now on, right? Just a little something, as a token of our respect. With that, we both handed over our gifts. I brought 5 pounds of spirit rice. As for old Kai, along with his spirit rice, he also threw in a jug of his home-brewed wine. The young man in white accepted the gifts. You two are too kind. I am Su Wangqing. Saying that, he took out 2 ordinary jade bottles and handed one to each of us. I politely accepted the jade bottle and gave it a quick glance. Inside was a chi recovery pill, used in the chi condensation stage. It helps cultivators quickly restore their spiritual energy. Just one standard chi recovery pill costs around 5 low-grade spirit stones. Truly worthy of an alchemist. He was incredibly generous. On the other hand, looking at me and old Kai, I felt like our measly little bags of spirit rice were pretty embarrassing to even bring out. Luckily, Alchemist Su didn't seem to mind at all. After a bit of casual chatting, we found out that Alchemist Su was actually a first-tier, mid-grade alchemist. Old Kai and I hurriedly bowed in respect. Right at that moment, someone walked in through the front door. The three of us turned to look. Turns out, fellow Taoist Long had arrived as well. Alchemist Su stood up to welcome him, and Taoist Long respectfully cupped his hands to greet him. Right in front of the two of us, Taoist Long pulled out 2 jade boxes and handed them over to Alchemist Su as a welcome gift. First tier, mid-stage monster core, and some Zan spirit grass. A faint smile appeared on Alchemist Su's face. He tapped his storage bag and pulled out an exquisite jade bottle, handing it over to Taoist Long as a return gift. 2 chi gathering pills. They can directly boost the cultivation of a chi condensation stage cultivator. And they're even effective for late-stage cultivators. After that, Taoist Long and Alchemist Su struck up a very enthusiastic conversation, completely ignoring the fact that we were even there. About 10 minutes later, old Kai and I excused ourselves and left. Both of us looked pretty awkward. Why didn't you tell me Alchemist Su was that young before we came over? And a mid-grade alchemist, no less. Next time you have this kind of good news, leave me out of it. And so, time slowly passed by. Soil in my 5 acres of spirit fields had all been turned over, and the new spirit rice was already planted. This time, I used the Beast Fang rice mother seed trait that I got last time. The seeds contained within this trait were just enough to plant 1 acre of spirit field. Time flew by, and in the blink of an eye, 2 months had passed. The spirit rice in my field started growing taller, but I was just sitting on the edge of the field, staring blankly at the ground, looking completely gloomy and miserable. The good news was, under the continuous boosting of my ultimate spirit rain technique, the fairy rice in the 4 acres of spirit field was growing great, and had even spawned 3 new traits. One of them was even the ripening trait I had been dying to get. But the bad news was, that 1 acre of Beast Fang rice I planted still hadn't shown any signs of life. It hadn't even sprouted. What in the world went wrong? I followed the methods in the spirit plant manual perfectly, and I definitely didn't skimp on the ultimate spirit rain technique, either. Am I really going to take a huge loss on this? Another 2 months went by. The first harvest of spirit rice for the year was finished, but my 1 acre of Beast Fang rice was still completely bare. Absolutely nothing. This season, I harvested 7 stones and 30 caddies of fairy rice. In my sea of consciousness, another green ripening trait had appeared, along with 2 white, weak mana traits. When Du Haifu found out that I had actually planted Beast Fang rice in that field, he didn't blame me. He just said, wouldn't it be better to just honestly stick to planting your fairy rice? Why waste spirit stones for nothing? When it comes to this Beast Fang rice, let alone you. Even the inner sect's tier 1 spirit farmers rarely manage to cultivate it successfully. Beast Fang rice usually takes 3 months to sprout after planting. Yours has been in the ground for 4 months now, and there's still not a single sign of life. It's hopeless. With this season's spirit rice yield, you've completely fallen out of the top 200. Personally, I wasn't too worried about the rankings right now. After all, with my traits in hand, I had plenty of confidence. It was just this beast fang rice. I just couldn't accept it. I was worried that if I used the ripening trait and it still didn't grow, what then? Then I really would have lost everything. One day, during this peaceful period, I finally gave in and used my one and only ripening trait on that acre of beast fang rice. Then, under my incredibly anxious gaze, a tiny hint of tender green broke through the soil. It worked. My eyes lit up, and the heavy rock in my chest finally lifted. I let out a massive sigh of relief. Soon, the beast fang rice seedling rapidly shot up. It kept growing until it was about 2 inches tall, and then it stopped. After that, the ripening effect in the field gradually faded away. The beast fang rice lost its terrifying growth speed. It seemed that the higher the level of the spirit plant, the more ripening traits it would need. This time, I just had to wait patiently. The maturity cycle for beast fang rice was at least 3 years. I decided to just stick to growing fairy rice for now. If I got lucky enough to spawn another ripening trait, then I could harvest a batch of beast fang rice ahead of schedule. Since it didn't sprout for so long, it made me think the seeds had all gone bad. Now, I was actually pretty excited to see exactly what kind of traits this tier 1 spirit plant, the beast fang rice, would spawn. I looked over at the field, and 3 traits were sparkling brightly. Name: Beast Fang Rice. Trait: Advanced Spirit Rain Technique times 5. Maturity: 7%. Name: Beast Fang Rice. Trait: Quality Boost times 1. Maturity: 5%. Name: Beast Fang Rice. Trait: Ripening times 5. Maturity: 5%. I hit the jackpot. I struck gold. Ha ha ha. I was so excited I jumped right up from the edge of the field. 10 days later, Du Haifu was staring at my field, completely dumbfounded. After checking it over and over again, he looked at the unique red-veined green sprouts of spirit rice in the field, and finally confirmed it. These are definitely the leaves of the longevity sprout rice. I can't believe you actually managed to grow it, kid. Du Hai's father looked at me with a complicated expression. For a moment, he didn't know what to say. A few days later, I headed out again. Now that the beast tooth rice was successfully cultivated, the rest was just a matter of time. First, I needed to find a body tempering technique. The cultivation world is constantly changing. Nothing is predictable, and my spirit root aptitude is just too poor. My cultivation speed is crawling. I have to get some means to protect myself. My goal was clear. I knew I had to prepare for danger in times of peace. Qingyang Market, the Zhan Pavilion, right in the center of the market. Ah, Brother Qin, you're here at Zhan Pavilion. Shopkeeper Liao greeted me with a warm, enthusiastic smile. Brother Qin, please, let's head up to the private room on the 4th floor. We can chat over some drinks. I followed shopkeeper Liao upstairs. Looking around the massive, spacious private room, it had a classic, antique feel. The decor was incredibly elegant and high-end. I was honestly a bit surprised. Still, just like usual, I took 2 large bags of golden spirit rice out of my storage bag and placed them right in front of me. Shopkeeper, please weigh these. Shopkeeper Liao gave a faint smile. These 2 bags of golden spirit rice weigh exactly 10 pounds. Brother Qin, here are 70 spirit stones. Please, check them over. Why are there so many extra spirit stones? I asked in confusion. Shopkeeper, what's the meaning of this? The price of spirit rice in the market is about to skyrocket. It'll happen within the next couple of days. You're a regular customer, Brother Qin, so I took the liberty of paying you based on the new, increased price. A price hike? Why the sudden price increase? Did something happen? I was a bit surprised, but I kept my cool as I probed for information. Shopkeeper Liao handed me the spirit stones and glanced out the window. Then, he set up a soundproofing barrier across the room. The Spirit Feather Sect's vanguard camp on the front lines made a discovery deep in the Yun's wilderness. They found a place that's practically a hidden paradise. There's actually a completely intact Tier 3 spirit vein inside. A Tier 3 spirit vein. A low-level cultivator like me had only ever read about those in books. My heart immediately raced, but that place is occupied by a barbarian tribe of several thousand people, while the Spirit Feather Sect's camp was fighting on the front lines. They were ambushed by the disciples of Golden Cloud Valley. The Spirit Feather Sect suffered massive losses. It looks like the conflict between the Spirit Feather Sect and Golden Cloud Valley is going to drag on for a long time. That's why not only daily necessities like spirit rice and meat are going up in price, but other cultivation resources will skyrocket too. Listening to shopkeeper Lao's words, I couldn't snap out of it for a long time. An ominous feeling of an approaching storm heavily weighed on my mind. No wonder the Spirit Feather sect has been sending even the spirit farmers to the front lines lately. I heard those barbarians are extremely skilled at controlling demonic beasts. A pack of demonic beasts slipped through the cracks and broke right through the Spirit Feather sect's defense line. Their whereabouts are completely unknown. You need to be extra careful when you head out these days, Brother Chin. Don't travel too far, I thought to myself. Shopkeeper Liao had laid all this groundwork, putting on such a great show of goodwill. Now we're getting down to business. Manager Lao's connections behind the scenes must be far from ordinary. To actually get advance news straight from the upper echelons of the cultivation sects. Getting on his good side wouldn't hurt. Thank you for the information, Manager Liao. But, is there anything else? Haha, fellow Taoist Chin, you really keep a low profile. I have a small favor to ask. 2 years from now, when the beast fang rice matures, could you sell a portion of it to our store? Our pavilion is willing to pay 10%. Above the market rate. I was shocked. It hasn't even been a few days. And he already knows about it. Manager Liao truly has eyes and ears everywhere. Even a little farming in my spirit field couldn't stay hidden from him. I didn't agree right away. Although the longevity sprout rice has been planted, I really can't guarantee that it will successfully mature in 2 years. Ah, so Manager Liao paying me spirit stones at the increased spirit rice price just now, and revealing all that news about the Spirit Feather sect, was just his way of using an extra 20 or 30 spirit stones to directly monopolize my supply. Longevity sprout rice, what a shrewd old fox in the business world. Of course, if fellow Taoist Chin has any other conditions, we can negotiate those too. For fellow Taoist Chin to have such profound attainments in spirit farming at such a young age, you must be exceptionally gifted. Harvesting that beast fang rice is practically guaranteed. I was wondering, does your pavilion sell any body refining techniques? Body refining techniques? Ha ha ha, fellow Taoist Chin truly has grand ambitions. Come, take a look with me. He directly pulled out several sets of body refining manuals and introduced them to me one by one. This first manual is the 9 Revolutions Yang Return Art, a top-tier body refining technique. It can be cultivated all the way to the foundation establishment stage. Supremely masculine and unyielding, priced at exactly 30,000 spirit stones. I curled my lips in dismay. Couldn't help but think to myself, the technique is great, but that price is absolutely terrifying. This second manual is the Underworld King's body refining mantra. It can open up 270 acupoints across the body, condensing true astral energy. It's a high-tier body refining technique, priced at 10,000 spirit stones. And then there's this Vajra Origin Severing Art, a mid-tier body refining technique. 30 years of cultivation will get you to the minor success stage. Priced at 500 spirit stones. Manager Lao's mouth was totally dry from all the talking. He took a sip of tea and continued. The Heavenly Fiend Phantom Demon Sutra, 80 spirit stones. Wait a minute, Manager. Heavenly Fiend Phantom Demon Sutra? This technique doesn't sound bad at all. It sounds so full of positive energy. I'll take it. This is a demonic path technique. Cultivate this, and every righteous cultivator alive will want to hunt you down. Then why the hell are you selling it to me? My bad, grabbed the wrong book. I left the Juxuan pavilion. All those techniques Manager Liao showed me were either way too expensive for my current net worth, or would take decades of cultivation just to see any results. Finding a suitable method was looking hopeless. I could only stare in frustration. However, before I left, Manager Liao did point me towards one promising path. In the eastern district of Qingyang Market, there's a Ruan family whose fortunes have declined. They have an ancestral body refining technique. I once offered 1,000 spirit stones to buy it, but that fellow Taoist Ruan stubbornly refused to sell. He insisted that I throw in some vitality-boosting pills or items before he'd even consider selling. I just didn't think it was worth the cost. Maybe you can head over there and try your luck, but I wouldn't get your hopes up too high. What shopkeeper Liao meant was, since I have some beast fang rice that's almost ready to harvest, if I throw it in as a sweetener, it might just win them over. In return for this tip, I also agreed that once the beast fang rice matures, I'd sell a portion of it to Ju Zan Pavilion. The deal was struck, leaving both of us quite happy. Just as I stepped out of the shop, I ran into a massive Spirit Feather sect patrol. They were rushing out of the market in a huge hurry, looking completely ready for battle. Their aura was incredibly imposing. Excuse me, friend, may I ask what exactly is going on here? I heard they're heading out to hunt down some monsters. But don't worry, it's completely safe inside our market. Even a foundation establishment stage monster wouldn't be able to break through the market's tier 2 defensive array. Just don't go wandering around outside, friend, and you'll be fine. I pondered this for a moment. Then, following shopkeeper Lao's directions, I headed to the Ruan family in the East District. But when I got there, their front doors were shut tight. A cultivator living nearby told me that friend Ruan had gone out on business. It'll take 3 or 4 months for him to get back. Left with no choice, I figured I'd just have to come back another time. I headed back to the shanty town. By evening, I was inside fixing up some dinner. Feeling a little distracted. Sure, inside Qingyang Market it's perfectly safe. But the defensive array doesn't cover our shanty town out here. Knock, knock, knock. Right then, a sudden knocking at the door snapped me out of my thoughts. I cautiously opened the door, only to find that my visitor was actually Friend Long. Friend Chin, I hear the yield and quality of your spirit rice are quite good. I'd like to buy some off you. Friend Long got straight to the point. I weighed my words for a second. Yeah, my recent harvest hasn't been too bad, but I've already sold off most of it. Hearing this, Friend Long frowned, but he still kept his tone friendly. Just how much spirit rice do you have left, Friend Chin? I'll take whatever you've got. I'll buy it all right at the going market rate. Even though I really didn't want to offend a late-stage qi refining cultivator like him, I also wasn't about to just let someone take advantage of me. I hesitated for a moment, then said, Friend Long, I've been hearing that spirit rice prices in the market are going up by about 50% in the next couple of days. Friend Long was clearly taken aback by that. He couldn't help but start sizing me up. Very few people knew about the spirit rice price hike, even though it would be public knowledge in just a few days. Right now, here in Qingyang Market, only a small circle of late-stage qi refining cultivators and a handful of major factions were in on the secret. You're certainly well informed, Friend Chin. Well then, how about this? I'll buy it at the new, higher price. How does that sound to you? Hearing this, I nodded and agreed. Right now, I've got about 50 caddies of stock left that I can let go of. I really don't have any more than that. You'll just have to wait until next season. After finishing the spirit rice trade, Friend Long said his goodbyes and hurried off. Didn't dare risk offending him too much, either. After all, he's the one who runs protection for all the alleys around here. Sigh. If even late-stage qi refining cultivators are starting to stockpile, it really looks like a storm is brewing. While the rising price of spirit rice is definitely a good thing for me, it also means that the situation out here is getting more and more dangerous by the minute. So, to prepare myself for whatever was coming, I sat cross-legged on my bed's meditation cushion and began circulating my eternal spring art, getting ready to use up my last 2 weak mana attributes. As a faint mana fragment vanished, the spiritual energy surging from my dantian circulated through my meridians over and over, continuously washing over and expanding my pathways. Finally, when the energy in my dantian reached its breaking point, a barrier felt like it was tearing apart. Qi condensation, level 3. The mana fluctuations around my body jumped to a whole new level. I let out a long breath of stale air. Finally, I'm no longer trapped at level 2. But even amidst the joy, I didn't let it get to my head. My foundation at level 3 is still unsteady. I need to boost my strength as soon as possible. In the blink of an eye, 3 months passed. I only harvested 2 faint mana fragments from the spirit field. But thankfully, after breaking through to level 3, my total mana has doubled. When casting the intermediate spirit rain spell, I never run out of breath halfway anymore. The yield for the second harvest of premium spirit rice also hit a new record, breaking past 90. This time, after paying the spirit rice tax, I wasn't in a rush to sell. Instead, I set aside a bit extra, just in case. Recently, the price of spirit rice in the market has been skyrocketing. It went up by over 60%. I actually made a nice little fortune. For the first time, the spirit stones in my storage bag crossed the 150 mark. I then spent 25 spirit stones at shopkeeper Lao's place to buy a low-grade golden light protection talisman and a low-grade artifact, the Azure Spirit Sword. You can't survive these days without some self-defense gear. By late October, the third crop of spirit rice had already sprouted grain heads. In just another month, it'll be ready to harvest. People have also slowly forgotten about the recent turmoil. Across the hundreds of acres of golden spirit fields on the hillside, you can see spirit farmers busy at work everywhere. The yield of this final harvest of spirit rice, for these farmers, is incredibly crucial, which goes without saying, seeing that the great harvest is right around the corner. None of the farmers dare to slack off even for a moment. They practically guard their fields every single day, never leaving for a second. This season, my premium spirit rice field only spawned 1 faint mana fragment. My idea of quickly ripening the beast tooth rice also went out the window. Just as I was in the field casting the spirit rain spell, I suddenly heard footsteps behind me. I went on high alert, instantly dropped the spell, and looked back. It was actually Alchemist Su. What is he doing here? While I was standing there confused, Alchemist Su walked straight up to me. He got right to the point. Fellow cultivator Chin, I heard you successfully grew the beast tooth rice. I quickly bowed to Alchemist Su and said humbly, it was just pure luck. There is no need to be so formal, fellow cultivator Chin. My visit this time is for the byproduct of the beast tooth rice, the crimson spirit dew. It was my first time hearing of such a thing, and I couldn't help but be very surprised. This crimson spirit dew is a rare auxiliary material for alchemy that can balance medicinal properties. Not many people know about it. After saying that, Alchemist Su walked over to the edge of the beast tooth rice field and started observing closely. He walked a full circle around the field. After a long while, he clicked his tongue in amazement at me. Fellow cultivator Chin, to be honest, the way you've cultivated this beast tooth rice completely exceeded my expectations. Once it matures, its quality will certainly be top tier. It seems you have your own unique secret recipe for farming. I sighed in my mind. A secret recipe, I definitely do not have. But I do have one unspeakable secret. Alchemist Su gently brushed aside the top leaves, the beast tooth rice stalk, and waved his hand, signaling me to come closer and take a look. I leaned over to check. Right at the base of the leaf, there really was a dewdrop formed, as crimson as blood. So this is the crimson spirit dew. It finally dawned on me. If Alchemist Su hadn't pointed it out, I really wouldn't have noticed. Taking the crimson spirit dew won't harm the spirit plant at all, and it's exactly what I need for my alchemy. Fellow Taoist Chin, would you mind if I collected some? I'm willing to pay 10 spirit stones for it. You must be joking, Alchemist Su. Since this spirit dew is useful to you, please, just take it. How could I possibly take your spirit stones? Since you insist, I won't politely decline. Alchemist Su took out a green jade bottle. Just as he was about to collect the crimson spirit dew, the canopy of the surrounding forest suddenly shook violently, and rustling sounds echoed out. It sounded like beasts leaping through the trees, heading straight toward this spirit field. Alchemist Su immediately stopped what he was doing. My face fell. Instinctively pulled out a golden shield talisman, my brows furrowing deeply. A wave of dread washed over me. The other spirit farmers on the hillside also noticed something was wrong. They all stopped their work. Suddenly, before anyone could react, piercing shrieks echoed across the fields. Dozens of monkeys, covered in sickly, twisted fur, darted out from the forest. A few of them radiated an exceptionally terrifying aura. They were actually mid-tier 1 demonic beasts. Oh no, they're wind howler monkeys. Alchemist Su recognized the monsters and slapped his storage bag. A set of formation flags appeared in his hands. He quickly cast a spell and tossed them onto the ground. A pale blue shield, 20 feet wide, instantly expanded out and engulfed him. Golden shield talismans are useless against them. Get in here, hurry. I didn't dare hesitate, immediately stepping inside the glowing shield. The outside noise was instantly cut off. I quickly looked out. The wind howler monkeys were shrieking wildly, sending arcs of sonic waves rippling outward from their mouths. The moment those low-level spirit farmers were hit by the sonic waves, their eyes turned bloodshot. Their faces contorted with madness, and they actually began slaughtering each other. In an instant, the spirit field descended into pure chaos. Huge patches of unripe spirit rice were trampled and ruined. A mid-stage chi condensation spirit farmer had just summoned his flying sword to escape, when a sonic wave broke his concentration, sending him crashing down from midair. A wind howler monkey, far larger than the rest, leapt up from the spirit field. Moving with terrifying speed, it instantly grabbed the farmer and viciously ripped his throat out. Blood sprayed everywhere. Absolute terror was permanently frozen on the dead farmer's face. Witnessing such a brutally bloody scene made my skin crawl. I glanced over at Alchemist Su. Although he looked grim, he hadn't lost his cool. Could he be that confident in this formation? My mind raced. I gave him a complicated look. Don't panic. My formation can hold them off for a while. The wind howler monkeys are most dangerous for their sonic attacks. It shatters the mind and is incredibly hard to defend against. We just need to stall for now. The Spirit Feather sect will be here to back us up soon. Just as he spoke, 7 or 8 wind howler monkeys suddenly grouped together and lunged fiercely toward our glowing shield, completely surrounding us. 8 of them all at once. Now, Alchemist Su's face went completely pale, seeing these beasts rampaging through the spirit fields and charging right toward my own land. I slammed my hand on my storage bag, my eyes turning deadly serious. A small copper bell spun rapidly in my hand. I formed a hand seal. The small bell instantly transformed into a massive bell, hovering in midair. Beast repelling spell. You want to see who's louder, huh? Let's see who's louder. A massive roar that could shake the very mountains and forests blasted out from my copper bell artifact. It was absolutely deafening. Centered on me, Countless sound waves swept out like a raging tidal wave. Spreading outward layer by layer, it completely drowned out the screeches of those wind howl monkeys. The bizarre sonic waves from the monkey pack were instantly shattered. The crimson red in Linglong's eyes nearby gradually faded. She regained her senses. The low-tier monkeys were terrified and scattered in all directions. Those few monkeys trying to pounce on us inside the formation were the closest to the artifact. The massive shockwave made their purple fur stand on end. They were absolutely terrified, shivering in fear, but that mid-tier 1-liter monkey, after a brief moment of shock, took only a few breaths to regain its ferocity. It obviously realized that the beast-repelling spell was all bark and no bite, dealing no actual damage. Eek, eek, eek. It shrieked at the sky, trying to regroup. Monkey pack lunged at us again. Oh, my goodness. How is this a beast-repelling spell? This is clearly just an amped-up lion's roar with a megaphone attached. Casting the beast-repelling spell just once instantly drained 1/5 of my mana. Still, getting this kind of result on the first try made me feel a bit more at ease. Fellow Taoist Chen, you actually know the beast-repelling spell? Alchemist Su behind me was greatly surprised. She looked me up and down repeatedly. It works sometimes, and sometimes it doesn't. I've made a fool of myself, Alchemist Su. Careful, fellow Taoist Chen. Those wind howl monkeys are coming back. Hearing this, I immediately braced myself and channeled my mana, casting the beast-repelling spell once again. Half a cup of tea later, a massive flying ship tore through the sky, descending right above the spirit fields. Looking closely, it was Deacon Gu from the Spirit Feather sect. He brought outer sect disciples for backup. Thank goodness they made it in time. I let out a long sigh of relief. I had just used up all 5 charges of my beast-repelling spell attribute. Right now, my face was pale, and my dantian was completely empty. If it weren't for the Everspring art granting me mana far exceeding that of ordinary cultivators. If Deacon Gu had arrived even a step later, I really would have been completely drained. I might have even had to use the weak mana attribute to save my life. I couldn't find you beasts anywhere these past few days, and yet you vile creatures dared to hide right under my nose? Deacon Gu was clearly furious. The spirit field suffered heavy losses this time. As the official in charge of the spirit rice tax, he was definitely going to be punished by the sect. I saw Deacon Gu flick his finger. A crimson flying sword shot through the air, carving a sharp, fierce arc in the sky. Flying sword instantly pierced right through that mid-tier 1-liter monkey. The air suddenly fell dead silent. A bloody line burst open on the monkey from head to toe. It was actually cleaved perfectly in half by a single strike. The monkey's corpse slumped to the ground. Perfected chi condensation. So terrifying, I stared blankly at Deacon Gu's lightning-fast, ruthless methods. Completely dumbfounded, the Spirit Feather sect disciples had arrived. The crisis was officially over. Deacon Gu led his men to swiftly exterminate the monkey pack. Not a single one escaped. In just a short amount of time, the spirit fields are safe from beast attacks for now. Who cast the beast-repelling spell just now? After cleaning up the scene, Deacon Gu stepped onto his flying skiff. He turned back to ask right before leaving. I stood rooted to the spot, keeping entirely silent. In the cultivation world, I never dared to show off too much. I've always played it safe. In this world, I bow to no one, but unless absolutely necessary. I only show what I can handle, never drawing unwanted attention. It was Taoist Chen. We owe it all to him this time. Alchemist Su stepped forward, answering on my behalf. Ah, Alchemist Su is here too. I was so furious earlier. I didn't even notice. A rare smile squeezed onto Deacon Gu's rigid face. He squinted at me for a moment, not noticing anything out of the ordinary. Are you the spirit farmer who grew the beast tooth rice? I'll mark down a merit for you this time. Your spirit rice tax for this quarter is reduced by 10%. Did you get that down? Ah, yes, yes, yes. I'll handle it right away. Du Haifu's face looked worse than if he had just eaten shit as he quickly agreed. A 10% tax cut meant it would naturally come out of his own pocket. Alchemist Su, my previous offer still stands. If you change your mind, you can find me at the Lingyu sect outpost anytime. I'm used to being a free spirit. I don't like being tied down. Let me think it over a bit more. Very well, I still have pressing matters to attend to, so I'll be taking my leave. I breathed a sigh of relief, looking around the hillside ruined by the monkey pack. Only my fields and those of a few other farmers were spared from the disaster. 3 or 4 fields had lost more than half their crops. Looking at the corpses scattered across the fields, I felt a heavy knot in my stomach. Sigh, we bottom-tier spirit farmers work our fingers to the bone, only to have a sudden disaster wipe out everything. If Alchemist Su hadn't recognized the beast, I probably would have ended up just like them today. Wait, what about Kai Lao Ju? My heart suddenly skipped a beat. Taoist Chen, we really owe you for this. If you hadn't used your beast repelling spell to break the monkey's sonic attack, they would have swarmed us. And neither of us would have made it out alive today. Alchemist Su walked over and kindly handed me a bottle of chi replenishment pills. Taken aback, I hesitated for a moment. Before finally taking it, I popped open the jade bottle. Inside were exactly 5 chi replenishment pills. I immediately poured one out, swallowed it, and sat right there, crossing my legs to meditate and recover my mana. A moment later, some color returned to my pale face, and my strength was mostly restored. Alchemist Su, you go ahead and collect the Crimson Spirit Dew. I'm going to see if Kai Lao Ju is safe, I told him as I stood up, rushing off toward Kai Lao Ju's spirit field. But halfway down the mountain path, I bumped right into him. He was covered in dirt and completely battered. He looked an absolute mess. Kai Lao Ju looked up, and seeing me without a single scratch, alive and kicking, he instantly broke down and yelled, "No freaking way, how are you completely fine?" He had actually been worried sick about me. But right now, I just can't accept it. Kai the Ninth, how are you holding up? Are you hurt badly? Who knows where those crazy monkeys popped out from? As long as you're okay. Wait, what do you mean, okay? I don't even know which bastard got bewitched by those monkeys, but someone jabbed a spirit hoe right into my backside. Damn it, they better hope I don't catch them. Wait, no way, how come you don't have a single scratch on you? Don't tell me those monkeys are your relatives and they just couldn't bear to hurt you? Just my luck, I ran into Alchemist Su. If it wasn't for his protection, you'd be burning paper money for my grave right now. Wait, what Alchemist Su? What was he doing in your spirit field? Alchemist Su saw that I grew beast tooth rice, so he came by to ask for some half-ripe Crimson Spirit Dew. You actually grew beast tooth rice? I've been here for over 10 years, and I've tried cultivating it too. But every single time, without exception, I completely failed. You've gotta be messing with me. But when he followed me to the back of the mountain, and stared at the stalks of beast tooth rice in my spirit field, which had already grown half as tall as a man, he was speechless for a long time. That's right, he was completely jealous. This time, he really envied me. Man, you're so disloyal. And to think I gave you my wine. You grew beast tooth rice and didn't even bother to tell me. After saying that, he didn't forget to go over and enthusiastically greet Alchemist Su. Where did you get the spirit seeds for the beast tooth rice? I bought them from manager Liao. I decided to just go for it. Basically gambled my entire future on it. You lucky bastard, you actually managed to grow it. I really don't know what to say to you anymore. Alright, once the beast tooth rice is fully mature, I'll treat you to drinks at the Gathering Pavilion. You said it. 2 days later, back at the Qingyang market, I returned to the Ruan family compound. Before long, a middle-aged cultivator opened a gate. He was at the 5th level of chi condensation, with a haggard face. And his eyes looked completely unfocused. Fellow Taoist, who are you looking for? How can I help you? You must be fellow Taoist Ruan, right? My surname is Chen. Manager Liao sent me here. I heard you have a body refinement manual you want to sell, so I came specifically to visit you. Fellow Taoist Ruan froze for a moment, then welcomed me into the courtyard. The moment I stepped inside, the whole place looked utterly bleak and desolate. Aside from fellow Taoist Ruan standing before me, there wasn't a single soul in sight. Since Manager Liao introduced you, I assume he already told you. Unless you have pills or spirit materials that can boost vitality and blood. Otherwise, I'm afraid I can only disappoint you. Fellow Taoist Ruan looked me up and down. He probably just thought my cultivation was completely ordinary, unable to see anything special about me. Naturally. I wonder if fellow Taoist Ruan could introduce this manual a bit? Just so I can properly consider it. Speaking of which, I'm afraid I'll make a fool of myself in front of you. Sigh. I won't hide it from you. The fact that my massive family estate has fallen to such a miserable state. It's also thanks to this very technique. This technique is called the 100 Treasures Glazed Scripture. It's been passed down through generations in my family. Our ancestors have always treasured it dearly, though its exact origins have long been lost to time. However, Practicing this technique comes with an extremely harsh prerequisite. It absolutely requires rare earthly treasures that enhance blood chi as supplements. Only then can you practice it. As Brother Ruan went deeper into his explanation, I gradually formed my own judgment of this technique. This 100 treasures glazed scripture is completely different from any body tempering technique I've ever seen before. Its approach to body tempering isn't about refining the flesh, nor is it about breaking through acupoints, let alone toughening the sinews and bones. Instead, it's about renewing the blood. The 100 treasures, as the name suggests, refer specifically to graded spiritual materials that are rich in blood chi power. The higher the grade, the better. And renewing the blood means circulating that blood chi. Once your blood chi reaches a certain level of abundance, you enter the marrow refinement stage. You replace your old blood with new blood, constantly compressing your blood chi to its absolute limit, transcending human limits to achieve a breakthrough in realms. Glazed means that after the blood renewal transformation, your physical body becomes as crystal clear as colored glaze. Once the 100 treasures glazed scripture reaches the 5th level, your blood chi will have undergone multiple transformations, allowing it to condense into a glazed treasure garment outside your body. Wards off all evil and makes you immune to all poisons. It's entirely indestructible, and even grants a certain level of magical resistance against spells. Magical resistance, if cultivated to a profound realm. You could achieve a flawless, unblemished glazed body, radiating a brilliant treasure light from head to toe. Your physical strength would become unimaginably terrifying. However, that's only what the records claim. No one has ever truly reached such a realm. Because of this, the spiritual materials required to practice this technique are basically a bottomless pit. That's no exaggeration at all. If you don't have a massive, long-term supply of spiritual materials, I really would advise you to just give up. The immense amount of wealth and resources it takes is more than enough to buy several top-tier techniques. And even after paying such a heavy price, there's no guarantee you'll succeed. That makes this technique somewhat useless. Not to mention, this is merely an incomplete manuscript. The 100 treasures glazed scripture has 12 levels in total, but on this beast skin in my hand, there are only the first 9 levels, corresponding to the chi condensation realm for body cultivators. After hearing him out, I fell into deep thought. Spiritual materials are the least of my worries. My ripening trait can easily solve that problem. The very materials that others would have to pay a massive price for actually play right into my advantage. In short, as long as I have enough blood chi spiritual materials, my cultivation speed with this technique definitely won't be slow. If I may be so bold to ask, Brother Ruan, what level have you managed to reach? Sigh, I've drained my family's entire fortune over the years. I've spent thousands of spirit stones all in all, running around everywhere just to gather blood chi materials. And yet, I've only barely made it to the 3rd level. Then has anyone in your family ever reached the 5th level with this technique? No, currently, the one with the highest mastery is me. I instantly understood why he was so desperate to sell off his family's ancestral technique. After some careful thought, I spoke decisively. 1,000 spirit stones, plus 10 pounds of beast tooth rice. To buy your technique, how about it? What, you actually have beast tooth rice? I do. The beast tooth rice hasn't fully matured yet, but I've already managed to cultivate it successfully. It's only a matter of time. If you have something like that to sweeten the deal, then of course we have a trade. But 10 pounds is way too little. I need at least 20 pounds of beast tooth rice. Hearing this, I furrowed my brows and turned to leave without a second thought. This guy was absolutely robbing me blind. 20 pounds of beast tooth rice? What an outrageous demand. That was way beyond what I was willing to pay. Hey, fellow Taoist Chen, we can talk this out. Hey, don't be in such a rush to leave. Please, hold on, I'll take a step back. How about 15 pounds of beast tooth rice? I didn't say a single word. I just quietly stared at him. Seeing that I wouldn't budge at all, fellow Taoist Ruan had no choice. You young folks nowadays really just can't keep your cool. Knowing this was my absolute bottom line, he let out a heavy, defeated sigh. Sigh, so be it. My Ruan family has guarded this cultivation method for so long, and no one has ever mastered it. Maybe our Ruan family just lacks the destiny for it. We'll do it your way, fellow Taoist Chen. 1,000 spirit stones, plus 10 pounds of beast tooth rice. Deal. I wonder when fellow Taoist Chen can deliver the beast tooth rice? In about 2 years or so, if that's the case. Fellow Taoist Chen, pay me 100 spirit stones up front, and I'll copy the first 5 levels of the method for you. Once the beast tooth rice matures, you can come get the rest of the method. What do you think? That works. Returning to the shantytown, I went back to my peaceful, quiet farming life. Watching the beast tooth rice mature day by day, I already had a plan for the next 2 years. As long as the ripening trait popped up in the spirit field again, I would secretly transplant a small batch to ripen early. And use it for my cultivation. Just moving a few hundred stalks. Outsiders would absolutely never notice. Of course, the 3 stalks with the trait had to be moved. There was another ripening trait in the spirit field. With both the spirit seeds and the trait, I could continuously ripen them in the future. If it wasn't for the increasingly chaotic environment around us, I wouldn't need to be in such a rush. It was just a mere 2 years. I could afford to wait, but the current situation simply didn't allow me the luxury of waiting slowly. The political climate of the cultivation world was changing in the blink of an eye. The power struggles among the upper echelons of the sects had actually rippled all the way down to this tiny Qingyang market, tucked away in a corner of the Yun's wilderness. I had to hold the absolute initiative of my own destiny firmly in my own hands. 1 month later, the final season of spirit rice for the year finally matured. This time was completely different from before. Deacon Gu of the Lingyu sect and Overseer Du Haifu were already waiting at the spirit fields, backed by heavily guarded disciples. Under Deacon Gu's intense scrutiny, the spirit farmers started harvesting the spirit rice. The evening sky was ablaze with sunset colors as the harvest came to an end. Du Haifu collected the taxes one by one, quickly finishing the tally. He respectfully handed the ranking report to Deacon Gu. This season, my golden spirit rice yield hit another record high. It broke past 10 stones and 90 pounds. Plus, Deacon Gu exempted me from 10% of the tax. After paying my taxes, I kept 320 pounds of golden spirit rice for myself. Adding up the total yield of all 3 seasons this year, my ranking even shot straight into the top 10. After reviewing the tally, Deacon Gu's rigid face showed absolutely no emotion as he coldly announced. The spirit rice yield rankings for this year have all been tallied. You may check them yourselves. The bottom 30 cultivators, board the ship and follow me. Even if you spirit farmers faced demonic beast attacks, the higher-ups still showed absolutely zero mercy to these bottom-tier spirit farmers. The 30 spirit farmers stared at the light screen, every single one of them looking completely devastated. They knew exactly what kind of cruel fate awaited them. I looked at them, feeling a complex mix of emotions, but then, my gaze suddenly turned resolute. I turned and patted old Kai the Ninth on the shoulder. Stop looking. Let's go. Brother Chin. Do you think one day, the 2 of us will also end up as one of those 30 people? I froze for a moment, remaining completely silent. If I didn't have my cheat ability, that scene just now would probably be my own ending. This is the ultimate destiny of an ordinary person. In times of peace, we are worked like beasts of burden. In times of war, we become cannon fodder. In daily life, we are squeezed for every drop of profit. In battle, our lives are thrown away. When the spring light dawns around the grain rain season, the mountains and rivers take on a lush green hue. As the New Year's spring begins, I planted the first crop of golden spirit rice early on. 1 month later, 4 acres of spirit fields had already sprouted tender shoots. Name, golden spirit rice. Trait, ripen. Maturity, 3%. Name, golden spirit rice. Trait, faint magic power. Maturity, 3%. Staring at the 2 traits in the field, my heart surged with uncontrollable excitement. 3 months from now, once this season's spirit rice fully ripens, I will be able to harvest a ripened trait and a faint magic power trait. Which means, I can harvest a batch of beast fang rice ahead of schedule. The life of a spirit farmer is dull and tedious. Every day, if I wasn't tending to the spirit fields, I was immersing myself in cultivation. Right now, near the spirit fields, a cyan flying sword was dancing up and down under the control of my magic power. It performed all sorts of fancy maneuvers, slicing through the air with sharp whooshing sounds. This is the basic object control spell that most cultivators know. It's just that in the past, I was so ridiculously poor that I couldn't even afford the lowest grade flying sword. I couldn't practice even if I wanted to. But today is completely different. I can finally experience the thrill of using a flying sword. Swish, the cyan spirit sword flashed with a streak of cyan light, slashing violently into the massive boulder right beside me. It sliced a small chunk clean off. It feels pretty smooth to use. It's just that channeling my magic power feels way too stiff. Not smooth enough. I retracted the cyan spirit sword, took out a cloth, and muttered softly to myself while wiping it down. In my mind, I constantly recalled the scene of Deacon Gu from the Spirit Feather sect summoning his crimson flying sword and instantly beheading the demon. That was what you'd call truly flowing like water. Of course, compared to Deacon Gu's flying sword, this basic flying sword of mine is practically a mere toy. Deacon Gu's flying sword was an upper-grade artifact at the very least. There's simply no comparison at all. Besides, high-grade artifacts like that usually come with a matching sword art. Once mastered, its power multiplies immensely. With my current wealth and cultivation level, I can only dream about it for now. Time flew by quickly. Another 3 months passed, and the spirit rice fully matured. This season, besides harvesting the 2 traits, ripen and faint magic power, I also yielded over 11 stones of spirit rice. Even after paying the taxes, I still had over 390 pounds left. Adding in the stock from previous years, my total spirit rice reserves have now broken past 700 pounds. I can finally say I've achieved spirit rice freedom. The price of spirit rice inside Qingyang market remains sky high. Taking advantage of the price surge, I'm planning to sell another batch. Shopkeeper Lao's thirst for spirit rice right now even far exceeds his desire for pills and magical artifacts. Besides, fellow Taoist Long has come looking for me several times, all to no avail in getting any rice. I'll have to spare some for him next time, otherwise, it would really be a slap in the face. One evening, I quietly took several hundred stalks of beast sprout rice, along with those 3 stalks that had system traits, and transplanted them all into my small courtyard. Once everything was ready, I targeted those 3 trait-bearing spirit plants and used a ripening trait. I figured that using a single ripening trait on just these 3 stalks would let me harvest them very soon. Under my slightly nervous gaze, the 3 stalks of beast sprout rice grew madly, shooting up in height. Less than half a day later, the spirit plant's growth gradually slowed down as they formed ears of rice. Name, Beast Sprout Rice. Trait, Advanced Spirit Language Art. Times 5. Maturity, 90%. Name, Beast Sprout Rice. Trait, Quality Upgrade. Times 1. Maturity, 92%. Name, Beast Sprout Rice. Trait, Ripening times 5. Maturity, 93%. At this rate, the ripening effect hasn't completely faded yet. I should be able to harvest them by tomorrow morning. Early the next morning, I got up and went out to the courtyard, only to see that those 3 stalks of beast sprout rice were already fully mature, bearing plump ears of grain. This was my very first time growing a tier 1 low-grade spirit plant. I couldn't help but feel a bit thrilled. However, even though they looked great, the ones grown through ripening were still of ordinary quality, failing to step into the fine grade ranks. Spirit rice quality is divided into 3 tiers: ordinary, fine, and supreme. I gulped and carefully plucked the 3 stalks of beast sprout rice. In an instant, 3 green trait leaves quietly floated into my sea of consciousness. The real main event was just beginning. I suppressed the joy in my heart and turned my gaze toward those several hundred stalks of beast sprout rice. This time, I simultaneously used up 1 ripening trait and 1 quality upgrade trait. 2 hours later, the beast sprout rice in the courtyard was growing out of control. Perhaps my luck was rising again. My luck was off the charts. Among these hundreds of stalks of beast sprout rice, 2 new traits actually spawned. Name, Beast Sprout Rice. Trait, Faint Blood Chi. Maturity, 50%. I was startled. Every time these traits refreshed, they were closely tied to my next step in cultivation. This was just too amazing. Right now, what I lack the most is blood chi power. Because the ripening trait was spread across several hundred spirit plants, the ripening effect slowed down a bit. 7 days later, a small patch of beast sprout rice in the courtyard was fully mature. I could no longer hold back my wild ecstasy. This was fine-grade beast sprout rice. Name, Beast Sprout Rice. Trait, Faint Blood Chi. Maturity, 100%. Ready for harvest. Name, Beast Sprout Rice. Trait, Faint Blood Chi. Maturity, 100%. Ready for harvest. Fine-grade beast sprout rice. Looked quite different from ordinary beast sprout rice. It looked quite different from ordinary beast sprout rice. The surface had several more blood-red streaks, a mix of red and white, making it absolutely beautiful. The spiritual energy and blood chi contained within gave a boosting effect that was 3 times that of ordinary beast sprout rice. It could massively enhance my blood chi. Filled with excitement, I quickly finished harvesting these hundreds of stalks of beast sprout rice. This batch alone yielded 6 pounds of fine-grade beast sprout rice. Over the next half-month, I repeated the process, saving a portion of the fine-grade beast sprout rice as seeds, and used the remaining 4 ripening traits to ripen them in batches. In the end, I harvested a total of 30 pounds of fine-grade beast sprout rice, along with 4 weak vitality attributes. With this, The ripening attributes in my sea of consciousness have been completely exhausted. I can only wait for the next harvest of the spirit field, praying that the ripening attributes will drop again. Using them like this is definitely a bit wasteful, but I couldn't care less anymore. My top priority is to boost my strength as quickly as possible, I thought to myself. If these 30 pounds of premium beast fang rice were sold at the Qingyang market, people would definitely fight to the death over them. Their value is immeasurable, but I know better than to show off. With my current low cultivation, it's not wise to stand out in the cultivation world. It's best to keep a low profile, so I don't attract the greedy eyes of those with hidden agendas. That evening, I cooked a pot of the premium beast fang rice. As it came out of the pot, the aroma was overwhelming. Its powerful vitality-boosting effects make it a supreme treasure that countless body-tempering cultivators dream of. Only the big shots in the sects get to enjoy this. It's truly a rare delicacy. Just smelling it made my mouth water. Carried the bowl into my bedroom, sat cross-legged on the bed, and dug right in. I quickly polished off the whole pot. Boom, a blazing torrent of energy erupted inside me. The boundless vitality contained in the beast fang rice surged through my entire body. I hurriedly circulated my cultivation method according to the 100 Treasures Glaze Sutra. Channeling my vitality, after the time it takes an incense stick to burn, my skin grew redder and redder, and a faint red mist actually began to rise around my body. This was the sign that my channeled vitality was seeping deep into my marrow, beginning the blood cleansing process. Only after practicing this sutra myself did I realize that it didn't cause any violent reactions. On the contrary, it was incredibly gentle, leaving my whole body feeling warm and cozy. It slowly grew hot and swollen. Cultivating with the premium beast fang rice made the process twice as effective. Soon, my entire body turned completely crimson, as layers of blood beads continuously seeped from my pores. The new blood was replacing the old. I gritted my teeth. With a thought, a weak vitality attribute in my sea of consciousness was activated. A massive surge of vitality rushed in like a tidal wave. I felt like I was inside a steaming basket. The burning heat was unbearable. The endless flow of vitality began to transform, surging wildly inside me. Gradually, the expelled old blood formed a scab over my skin, encasing my entire body. It turned into a massive blood cocoon. Thump, thump, inside the cocoon, a red light flickered in rhythm with my heartbeat. After 2 full hours, a crack appeared on the blood cocoon. As the cracks kept spreading, the entire cocoon slowly peeled away. I broke out of the cocoon, and a completely new power was born within me. It was an even more profoundly mysterious vitality. The birth of this power marked my official breakthrough to the first level of the 100 Treasures Glaze Sutra, completing my very first blood transformation. Enhanced by this new vitality, my organs, bones, and skin had all been strengthened like never before. With every move I made, I felt like I had boundless energy. More importantly, it felt like a thin, protective film covered my skin. It became incredibly tough. Ordinary mortal weapons couldn't even leave a scratch on me now. I got up and walked into the courtyard, clenching my fist. I threw a devastating punch at the stone mill under the tree. Bang! Rubble flew everywhere. The solid stone mill shattered into countless pieces under my single punch. So strong, I was thrilled. My strength far exceeded that of a normal first-level body-tempering cultivator. No wonder Taoist Ruan was dead set on practicing this sutra, even if it meant losing everything. I stared at my hands, my heart once again filled with hope for the future. Maybe, I've finally found a shortcut to get ahead. In the days that followed, I immersed myself in farming, while cultivating the 100 Treasures crystal scripture. Whenever the spirit field triggered a rapid ripening effect, I'd immediately use it on the premium beast fang rice. With an endless supply of beast fang rice to replenish my vitality, my body refinement progressed by leaps and bounds. Half a year passed in the blink of an eye. Thanks to the massive amount of premium beast fang rice and the brute force stacking of the minor vitality trait, I had already cultivated the scripture to the 3rd level. If Taoist Ruan found out, he'd probably cough up blood from pure frustration. I finally understood too, why back then, at the mere mention of beast fang rice, Taoist Ruan's eyes would light up. It turned out this beast fang rice was the most compatible with this cultivation method out of all vitality-based spirit materials. I deeply experienced this during my training. During these 6 months, something unexpected happened as well. Alchemist Su actually paid me a visit twice. He was an incredibly rare guest. Having not seen him for half a year, he had already broken through to the 6th level of qi condensation. I couldn't help but feel envious. An alchemist's cultivation speed really is extraordinary. Every time Alchemist Su came, it was to buy everyday spirit goods from me. I naturally agreed with pleasure. Over time, we gradually became familiar with each other. After discussing it with him, on 2 separate occasions, I traded 100 pounds of golden spirit rice for 2 spirit gathering pills, which boosts chi condensation spiritual power. Alchemist Su happily agreed both times. On this particular day, when he visited again, I not only cooked golden spirit rice, but also prepared fine food and wine to host him. Taoist Chen, the reason I came this time isn't to buy spirit rice. I actually want to make a deal with you. Alchemist Su took a bite of food, raised his cup, and downed his wine in one gulp. He stated his purpose directly. I was extremely curious, secretly thinking that I was just an ordinary spirit farmer. Besides spirit rice, what kind of deal could Alchemist Su possibly make with me? Alchemist Su, what might this matter be? I asked. Alchemist Su replied with a solemn expression. I'm preparing to refine a specific pill, and I'll need a large amount of spirit flowers for it. I'd like to ask for your help in growing frost spirit flowers. Instantly, in my mind, the image of an orchid-like spirit plant appeared, its flowers resembling condensed frost. With pale yellow stamens, this flower was a Tier 1 spirit plant, with a maturation cycle of about a year, and a blooming period of only 7 days. The flowers could be used as medicine for alchemy. I had seen records of it in a spirit plant book, so it left a deep impression on me. I also remembered Alchemist Su mentioning that the frost spirit flower was an auxiliary material for refining the Tier 1 top-grade marrow cleansing pill. The marrow cleansing pill was a miraculous medicine used by late-stage chi condensation cultivators to break through. It was incredibly rare, virtually priceless and impossible to buy. Would he be trying to advance to a top-grade alchemist? I had already guessed the gist of it, but I was still puzzled. Why didn't Alchemist Su look for the spirit plant masters of the Spirit Feather sect, and instead sought out a lowly spirit farmer like me? Haha, I've grown used to a carefree life. I don't like being bound by sect rules. If I asked the Spirit Feather sect to grow it, it would definitely invite a lot of unwanted trouble. I see. I nodded and poured him another cup of wine, asking with a bit of hesitation, but this frost spirit flower is a Tier 1 spirit plant. I've never planted them before. I'm afraid. You must be joking, fellow Taoist Chen. Even hard to grow spirit plants like beast fang rice were a total success for you. A mere spirit flower naturally won't be an issue. Besides, I'll be the one providing the spirit seeds. Once they're fully grown, I'll buy them back for 5 spirit stones each. I can give it a try, but I can't guarantee it will be a complete success. Other than that, I actually have a small favor to ask. I wonder if Alchemist Su would be willing to agree? Go ahead. I can grow these spirit flowers for you, and when they mature, I'll only take a 10% cut. The rest is all yours. However, I'd like to learn a trick or two about alchemy from you. Hearing this, Alchemist Su paused in surprise. He looked me up and down for a moment, then let out an exasperated laugh. Ah, so that's what you were after all along. But you better think this through. Alchemy doesn't just burn through spirit stones, it also requires an extreme amount of natural talent. It's not something just anyone can pick up. Don't blame me for not warning you later. Seeing him respond like this, I was overjoyed, knowing the deal was pretty much in the bag. First-time strangers, second-time friends. Since I'm growing these Ying spirit flowers this time, next time Alchemist Su needs other spirit herbs grown, I can squeeze even more valuable knowledge out of him. Hee. My mind was already calculating the profits. I plan to stay here for another 3 years. Let's do this, then. You grow spirit herbs for me for 3 years, and I'll trade you my alchemy insights. Deal. This is the foundation of alchemy. You need to memorize the most basic medicinal properties, as well as furnace and temperature control by heart. Inside are the summary notes from when I was a beginner. Take it and read through it first, Alchemist Su said, pulling out a jade slip and handing it to me. I quickly took it and thanked him. With just a quick glance, I saw that the jade slip recorded the 3 core elements of alchemy: furnace, ingredients, and heat control. I thought it would just be an ordinary, basic text, but upon a closer look, I realized that this foundational manual was mostly Alchemist Su's own personal study notes. It was incredibly systematic and detailed. Just getting my hands on these notes made farming for him for 3 years totally worth it. I happily tucked the jade slip away and raised my cup to toast Alchemist Su. With the agreement settled, the two of us continued our meal. Right at that moment, a knock came from the door outside. Alchemist Su, please keep eating. I'll go get the door, I called out, putting down my bowl and chopsticks as one stood up. As the door swung open, the visitor actually turned out to be fellow Taoist Long. I quickly ushered him inside. Fellow Taoist Long, please, come in. We were just having a meal. Would you like to join us for a bite? Oh, no need. I'm just here to buy some spirit rice, same as usual. But before he could finish his sentence, he spotted the white-robed figure dining at the table. It was none other than Alchemist Su. Fellow Taoist Long's heart skipped a beat. A look of absolute surprise flashed across his face. What was Alchemist Su doing here? Eating with him, of all people? Fellow Taoist Long stepped forward, bowing respectfully to greet the alchemist. He didn't take a seat, though. Instead, his eyes swept over the feast on the table. Spirit rice, spirit wine, and even roasted demon beast meat. A spread like this would cost at least 5 spirit stones. Just what exactly was the relationship between these two? Looks like I completely underestimated fellow Taoist Qin, he thought. Even Long himself wouldn't dare splurge like this. I was becoming more of a mystery to him by the second. Haha, fellow Taoist Qin, I'll pass on the food. I've got some urgent matters to attend to. The usual, here's 80 pounds of spirit rice, fellow Taoist Long. Give it a count. Long took the bag, giving it a casual weigh in his hands. He tossed it into his storage bag, pulled out 20 spirit stones, and handed them over to me. With the deal done, he exchanged a few more polite words with us. Then, he excused himself. After seeing him out the door, I headed back to the table and took my seat. Fellow Taoist Qin, you've really been raking it in lately with this spirit rice business, haven't you? Just barely scraping by, really. The market price for spirit rice went up a bit lately. But compared to an esteemed alchemist like you, it's nothing worth mentioning. Once we'd eaten our fill, Alchemist Su pulled out a small packet of phantom spirit flower seeds and handed them over. He instructed me carefully. I'll rent a plot of land right by your spirit fields. You can just plant them there when the time comes. I pocketed the seeds and gave a firm nod, but deep down, I couldn't help wondering, would these Tier 1 phantom spirit flowers trigger any special system traits? A few days later, I grabbed the land deed token from Alchemist Su and headed out to the fields to prep the soil and start sowing. To be completely honest with you, I didn't know the first thing about growing spirit flowers. I'd spent the last few days cramming through botanical scrolls. Thank God these things weren't too picky about their environment. Otherwise, with the weak spiritual energy of this Tier 1 spirit vein, they'd never even survive. But what I absolutely didn't see coming was the hardest part about growing phantom spirit flowers. The pollination. Unlike your average spirit plant, you have to pollinate them at least 7 times within their 7-day blooming window. And you actually need a spell to control swarms of bees to do it. If they don't get enough pollen, the flowers wither way too early. Their medicinal properties drop, making them completely useless for alchemy. This totally stumped me. Even with my ability to magically speed up their growth, I can't exactly go around pollinating each flower by hand, right? Sigh, I guess I'll just cross that bridge when I get to it. Hoisting my spiritual hoe over my shoulder, I marched down to the fields and got to work turning the soil. Once the soil was ready, I carefully planted the seeds Alchemist Su had given me. 3 acres in total. I cast my ultimate spirit rain spell over the entire plot. I nodded in satisfaction. Whether they survived and thrived or not, well, that was up to the heavens now. If push comes to shove, I'll just have to bust out my ultimate growth acceleration trick. Over the past 6 months, the system traits stored inside my mind we're down to just 6 stacks of weak mana, and 2 stacks of weak vitality. 5 stacks of advanced spirit rain, and 1 single stack of rapid growth. All the other traits had been completely drained while I was cultivating the 100 Treasures Glass Sutra. Anyway, with the planting done, I headed back inside to focus on my cultivation. I gently popped the cork on an exquisite jade bottle. Inside sat 2 pale green pills. Just breathing in their rich fragrance instantly cleared my mind and lifted my spirits. It's a spirit gathering pill. I traded 100 pounds of spirit rice for this, and it wasn't easy getting it from Alchemist Su. I sat down on the straw mat on my bed, took out a pill, and swallowed it. The medicinal energy melted and surged through my body. My spiritual power circulated so much faster now. Without hesitating, I activated the evergreen technique to absorb this massive wave of spiritual energy. After a long while, I opened my eyes. A massive grin spreading across my face. This spirit gathering pill, it really lives up to its name as a top-tier pill for the chi condensation stage. A single pill boosted my spiritual power, way past what my weak mana trait could ever do. That's literally a whole year of hard training right there. If I could just take one of these every single day, I bet I'd break through to the 4th level of chi condensation in no time. I thought to myself, with my cultivation done for the day, I was in a fantastic mood. I decided to head over to shopkeeper Lao's place to sell off some spirit rice and see if I could buy a spell to control the bee swarm. Now that I could afford to eat premium beast tooth rice, there was no point hoarding all this normal spirit rice. I might as well sell it while the prices were still high and trade it for some talismans and artifacts. I navigated my way through the maze like shantytown alleys, taking twist after turn until I hit the main street. Inside the Juxuan pavilion, shopkeeper Liao flashed his signature smile and greeted me with absolute enthusiasm. "Oh, fellow Taoist Chen. So good to see you. Please, come on in. Someone, get the tea ready." I just smiled, not saying a word. I reached into my storage bag, pulled out 3 massive sacks of spirit rice, and dropped them onto the table. Shopkeeper Lao's eyes lit up, and he beamed from ear to ear. "Ha ha ha, this has got to be over 300 pounds, right?" After selling the rice, I paused for a moment and asked, "Shopkeeper Liao, are spirit rice prices still the same? Haven't they gone up any higher?" "That's right, fellow Taoist Chen. Honestly, for the foreseeable future, spirit rice prices won't be going up anymore." Shopkeeper Liao glanced around nervously before leaning in. On the flip side though, things like talismans, defensive artifacts, and life-saving pills are going to see a slight bump in price. If you need any of those, you'd better stock up now while you still can. Give it a few days, and the prices will be completely different. "Why, did something happen again?" I asked. "Nothing too crazy. It's just that the Spirit Feather Sect and Golden Cloud Valley are caught in a deadlock right now. The vanguard camps clearing the front lines are struggling to hold their ground, and they've been taking heavy casualties. Rumor has it the Spirit Feather Sect just drafted another batch of cultivators to fill the ranks." Sigh. The Spirit Feather Sect, they're totally baiting rogue cultivators into the savage territories to use them as straight-up cannon fodder. I took the spirit stones shopkeeper Liao handed over and asked him, "Does your shop happen to sell any spells for controlling bee swarms?" "Of course we do. We rarely ever run out of stock here. Ha 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 ha. Take a look at these, fellow Taoist Chen. We have the beast taming incantation, the insect control technique, and the spirit control scripture. They're all the same price, and I'll even give you a 10% discount. Any of these manuals will only cost you 3,000 spirit stones." Yeah, never mind then. This old fox was always trying to bleed me dry of every last spirit stone I had. He was way too good at his job. I mean, sure, my spirit rice harvest had gone up recently, and I'd managed to save up a decent bit of cash, but just buying one random technique manual would literally bankrupt me in seconds. Cultivating immortality is such a massive money pit. You're practically trying to rob me. What about the mid-grade? How much are your mid-grade attack talismans per piece? The moment shopkeeper Liao saw me pass on the manuals, he looked so disappointed, but the second I asked about talismans, he instantly perked right back up. Mid-grade Fire Cloud talismans go for 80 spirit stones each. Mid-grade Thunder Sword talismans are 100 spirit stones, and mid-grade Golden Halberd talismans are 80 spirit stones apiece. What kind are you looking for, fellow Taoist Chen? I'll take one mid-grade Lightning Sword talisman. Shopkeeper Lao's face lit up with joy. He immediately pulled out a blue talisman and handed it to me. I took the talisman, and the deal was done. Still beaming with enthusiasm, shopkeeper Liao walked me out of Juxuan Pavilion, and I stepped out into Qingyang Market. I strolled slowly along the main road of the market, where an endless stream of all sorts of cultivators filled the streets. People bustling back and forth. But lately, there seemed to be a lot more unfamiliar faces in the market than usual. As I was just wandering down the street, by the entrance of a nearby pleasure house, a scantily clad female cultivator in a green gown shot me a heavy wink and cooed playfully, "Fellow Taoist, why don't you come inside and have some fun?"